I don't even know how to start this. This has been my 10th time trying to start this podcast. I have the dog barking at other dogs walking by. There were 4 huskies walking by and he completely went bonkers, and I've got the kids in the background. You're gonna hear doors closing and shutting, and my husband is out food shopping right now, so I have no show notes because I decided I am just gonna sit down and do this. It has been 6 months and it's been ridiculous. So welcome to the 34th, I believe, episode of the New England Gal podcast. If you have stuck around and you are here after a 6-month hiatus, thank you so much for tuning in and staying with me. And for any new viewer, thank you so much for checking this episode out. It's gonna be a little bit crazy and I apologize because no show notes. It's been 6 months. I've kind of pulled out things I've worked on in the last 2 weeks because I typically, before my 6-month break, podcast every 2 weeks. So I kind of just pulled that type of stuff together to share with you, although I have a feeling this is going to be a long-winded podcast and I apologize in advance. I am going to start off with what I am wearing. I am wearing the Felix pullover, and I knit this because I'm absolutely crazy in August out of Letlopi because the hottest part of the summer deserved me to knit a sweater with the warmest wool there is. But here is a leftover skein of Letlopi, and it's color 9431, and it's odd. I ordered the right amount of skeins for the size sweater I wanted to knit, yet I still had 2 skeins left, so I think I'm going to knit Larka from Fiber Tales. It has a pair of socks knit out of Letlopi, so I think I am going to go ahead and knit those socks with the leftover 2 skeins. It'll be nice and toasty for the winter for my feet and use them as slippers around the house. But that is what I am wearing. As far as finished objects, I have none. The last 6 months, there's just been a lot of little things going on that just kept me busy and not having a lot of time to do things and knitting. And just to show you too how lazy I've been with my knitting, I have balls flying over here anyways. I have had these 2 socks sitting on my dining room table for 3 months. They just need to be Kitchenered off. And it's bad because I have the 2 finished socks. So I have a pair basically done, and I've been so lazy. I've taken 3 months and I haven't Kitchenered them off. I think I will Kitchener the toes when I edit this video and get them done, so I can just add them to my sock collection, because we are in November. I almost said October, but it is November 2nd, so we are in November and it's starting to finally get chilly here. I have to say we had a very warm October, so there was not a whole lot of sweater weather. There was a lot of t-shirts still being worn, so I can finally start breaking out my woolly socks. But you guys have probably seen this one before. These were supposed to be my Christmas socks for last year, and didn't make it for Christmas last year, but I will have them ready to go this year for Christmas. And this is knit out of Once Upon a Corgi in her Peppermint Mocha colorway, and it's her Corriedale nylon base. I believe it's called the Marie Cutie base, but I'll have to double check and I'll put it down below. And I love working with this yarn. I have another skein of hers in that same Corriedale nylon base, and I can't wait to break that out and knit another pair of socks with those. So love these, can't wait to have them for Christmas this year. And then these I knit this summer, and this is the Yarn Jars Flip Flop colorway. I love these colors. These I took with me to the beach, and this is what I knit on every time we went to Newport this summer. And then I just used a cream, I think it's just the Lion brand sock yarn, cream color for the heels and toes on that. But it'll be nice to get these off the needles. It has been, like I said, on my dining room table, to where my husband has been like, you gonna finish those anytime soon? So this is the way the last 6 months have been going. I do have 2 sweaters on the needles right now, and I'm both up to the sleeves on both of them. So I'm finding that had I done one sweater at a time, I probably would have had them both done by now. But now that I am just on the sleeves, I'm feeling it's kind of tedious, and that excitement of the yoke and the body are kind of done. But the first sweater I am working on here is a Jennifer Stein Gas sweater, and this is her Athleta sweater. So here we go, which is colorwork yoke from the 4 Huskies are back. Sorry about that. They are beautiful, and I love my miniature husky, and he sheds like you wouldn't believe. And this woman walks with her 4 huskies every single day, and all I can think about is I cannot imagine the amount of fur in her house when my 20-pound husky, Lego, hi, shh, when my 20-pound husky leaves fur everywhere. Anyways, I have absolutely loved knitting this. It flew, the body, the yoke flew. I am knitting this out of, I did warn you at the beginning of the podcast that this was going to be a mess, and I am sorry. It is going to be a lot of background noise between the dog and the kids, but I am knitting this out of Pletlopi, I think is how you say it. So it is the plates of basically unspun Icelandic wool, and as you can see, it kind of comes right apart. It has, as a tight knitter, it has been a real challenge. I've had to hold my yarn so that I'm not tensioning it around my pinky. The one good thing is that with this, it is very easy to, you know, pull it apart and easily felt it back together. So, but it's kind of pulled apart, and I've had to put it back together multiple times because, like I said, I am a very tight knitter. But I can't wait to get this done. It's my husband, who has kind of no opinion on my knitting. That sounds horrible, but you know, he tells me my things are nice, but he really kind of has no thoughts on my knitting. This is his favorite thing I've ever knit, and he just absolutely keeps telling me how much he loves it, which makes me feel good. I did switch up. Number one, I did mess up on the top color work here. This is not supposed to be a straight down. These white lines are supposed to be broken up a little bit. So I messed up on that. And then I did change, this is all supposed to be garter at the bottom, and then it's supposed to be garter at the ends of the sleeves. I decided to do ribbing. I have one sweater that has the garter on the bottom, and even though I switched the smaller needles, I feel like it kind of flares out, and I didn't want that with this sweater, so I just did a 1x1 ribbing at the bottom, and then I'll do the 1x1 ribbing at the end of the sleeves. So this has been such a pleasure to knit. It's kind of nice to try something different for the yarn. Like I said, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but at the same time, the yarn breaks and it's very easily put back together. And actually, while I'm on it, I just want to share, this is Jinjin Handmade, one of her bags, and she's on Etsy. I'll put her link below. The bag is so well made. I absolutely adore it. It's drawstring, which I love because as klutzy as I am, my yarn normally ends up in my zippers, but there are just, I'm gonna see, a ton of pockets on the inside as well. And it's huge. It fits my sweater. I have my two notion pouches in here right now. It's been great. I love this bag. So that is the first sweater I've been working on. And the second sweater, I don't even have in a bag. Let me grab this here. So I have, like I said, it's a complete and utter mess. Most of my projects aren't in bags. I've had them on my dining room table, which has been driving my husband crazy. But here is my second sweater, and this is a cardigan. It is the Still Water by Marie Green, and it has, let's see, faux needles going up the front. I am knitting this out of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the Hayloft colorway, and I have the body done. I am almost done this sleeve, and then I have just the second sleeve, and I have to pick up for the neckline. But this fits really, really well, and I can't wait to get this done. It's funny, I love a good cardigan and throwing it over a t-shirt, yet I've only ever knit one cardigan. This is my second cardigan that I'm working on, so I can't wait to have this one done and add it to my collection. I love knitting in the round, and I think that's why I just prefer to knit pullovers, because it's in the round, there's no going back and forth. And not that I mind purling, I'm a flicker, and I find I am just as fast purling as I am knitting. So the purling's not the issue. I don't know what it is about knitting something flat compared to in the round. I do just prefer in the round. So kind of going off of that, I this summer finally made it down to the Mermaid's Pearl yarn shop in Wickford, Rhode Island, which is part of North Kingston. If anyone's familiar with that area, it is hands down, I think, my favorite shop, and I've been back multiple times, and absolutely I love it. I went on a knitting cruise through Newport Harbor with them, and they had a chunk show on the boat, and they had Bichibouche yarn. I don't know if I said that right. My French pronunciation, my English pronunciation's not great, so I can't even imagine what my French pronunciation's like. But with that said, they had a steeking class, so I signed up for that, and let me grab, I haven't finished it yet because this will take me less than an hour to finish, and I have been way too lazy to do that. But it is a cowl, so they had, your homework was to knit the cowl in the round, and then in the class you did the little crochet, crochet reinforcement, My words are not coming to me easily today. So we did the crochet reinforcement, then we cut it and picked up for the ribbing, and I have this ribbing I need to pick up for, and this one will have buttonholes, so we'll be able to button it up. And I went down and picked up, I should tell you what I'm knitting this out of. I'm probably out of frame. This is knit out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft, so I went down to the Mermaid's Pearl to pick up the supplies so that I could start knitting it to be ready for class. And I've got, this is Loft, and this is in the Long John colorway, and this one is in the Wood Smoke colorway. And when I went down there, I picked up, you need 5 buttons for the pattern, so I picked up 5 buttons. I got home, I remember saying, I'm going to put them here for safekeeping so I don't lose them for class. I have no idea where they are. I have no idea where I said was my safekeeping spot. I know they're somewhere in my house. I remember putting them somewhere. I just don't remember where. As I've been said, the last 6 months have been crazy, and my mind is not with the program. We've just had a lot going on. So I rushed down. So the class was at 5:30. The shop was closing at 5, and it was a weekday, and I was heading from work, and it was an hour and 15-minute drive. So I rushed down to pick up new buttons. So these are the buttons that I picked up, and I don't know how well you can see it. They're cute little wooden buttons with little trees, embossed or burnt into them. So, you know what, maybe this will be my goal, to get this done and the socks Kitchenered off today, and then work on my 2 sweaters. I do want to get the Stillwater cardigan done for Thanksgiving, which is right in November. It's coming up before you know it. So that was the cowl, and then of course I always have socks on the needles. I have 3 pairs. I've been working on this in the last 2 weeks, which is ridiculous, because had I only worked on 1 pair in the last 2 weeks, I would have had a pair completed, but I get bored, I need to move on. I have these three pairs, and then I have, I'm just thinking, 1, 2, 3, 4 other pairs. 5 other pairs on the needles. It is absolutely, I almost want to say unacceptable. I'm ashamed to admit this, and I'm putting this on film and out in the internet. It's a little nerve-wracking. Let me start with the pair that is almost done. These are knit out of Peyton's Croy sock in the blue striped rag colorway. So I have almost the whole foot, look at this, whole foot done on this sock, and I also have, look at that, the foot almost done on this one as well. I have to measure them out, and then I think I'm basically at the toe, and then I'll just go ahead and do the toes for these. So these are my first pair of socks that I've been working on, and we have a friend who purchased a place up in Old Orchard Beach, so we've been in Maine, so we've been up there quite a bit. So this has been my sock knitting for the ride, so I don't have to think about it. And then I have 2 more socks to share with you. I have been busy these last 2 weeks, so I am knitting another just plain vanilla sock. I'm on the foot of this one, and this is the first sock. I haven't even started the second one yet. And when I went up to Old Orchard Beach with my friend, we hit Freeport, Maine, which has the LL Bean. It is massive for those who haven't been there. It's almost like a campus. There's multiple buildings. There's a home building. There's a 3-story LL Bean store that is clothes and pet supplies. It's just amazing. Anyways, up in Freeport, there's also a yarn store called the Mother of Pearl, and I picked this yarn up, and this is on the round, so I wanted to pick up yarn that was dyed in Maine, so I picked up On the Round in her Eclipse colorway. Here it is in the Everything's a Tangled Mess today. So those of you who have come back aren't coming back again the way this podcast is going, but here it is in the cake. And yep, so I've been plugging away at this one at work just because knitting in the round at work is just, I don't have to think about it, which is great. And then the last sock and last work in progress I have to share with you is another skein of yarn I picked up in Maine. So Steve, my husband, and I went up to Portland this summer, and I hit Knitwit in Portland, Maine, and I picked up, this is Seven Sister Yarns, and unfortunately I don't have the tag and I don't remember the colorway. I know the last something wing. I went onto their website to try and see if I could find it, but they didn't have that particular colorway on their website. So, but it's grays and greens, and it reminds me of the forests up in Maine. Maine is heavily wooded. Acadia National Park is gorgeous. I want to get up there and get the boys up there for a hike. But this is what the colorway reminded me of. So I recently became a patron of Melody Hoffman, or B. Mandarins, and she recently released this pattern, Into the Woods, the sock pattern. So I just thought this was the perfect yarn to go with that pattern, and she's got this adorable little stitch pattern, and I'm hoping it's coming in that looks like little evergreen trees, which Maine is just full of. So I've been really enjoying this, and the stitch pattern is just so relaxing and meditative. I can't wait to get the second sock cast on for this. I've been loving it. I did a drop stitch, a heel flap in gusset heel, which I don't normally do. It's what the pattern called for, but I actually kind of enjoyed knitting it. I like the Fish Lips Kiss heel because it takes me an hour and the heel is done, whereas sometimes with the heel flap and gusset, it seems to just take a full day to get the heel done. But I really am enjoying everything about this sock. So that is it for everything I've been working on in the past 2 weeks. And like I said, I'm hoping to get a couple projects that are basically done off the needles today, and getting that put away and not on my dining room table so my husband does not yell at me. I'm not going to share anything I've purchased recently just because I purchased too much. I am not, I have one thing coming in the mail, but other than that, I went through all of my stash last weekend, all of my sweater quantities in a notebook. I wrote it all down, what I had, what pattern, what yarn I had for it, and that is what I'm going to be concentrating on. If I could show you, I have baskets by my fireplace hearth that is overflowing with works in progress, and I'm need to concentrate on getting those done. I'm going to go ahead and think in that same notebook, write down all of my works in process. I love my to-do list, so I'm gonna write everything down so I can just check them off and I'll feel accomplished. But I do want to share, while I haven't, not sharing anything I purchased, I do want to show you one thing because this is super special. I went to my brother's I've been to my brother's a couple times, and those that don't know, my twin brother lives in upstate New York, basically at the Canadian border. He has a 50-acre farm up there where he has alpaca and goats and chickens and peacocks and is that it? A couple donkeys, miniature donkeys. I think that's it for the animals. Anyways, he's been shearing the alpaca, but he finally decided to get the wool spun. So I was a lucky recipient of 5 skeins of alpaca yarn from him, and these are each, they're a sport weight with each 100 yards in them. And what I love about it is that the mill he sent them to, because he has, I'm trying to think now, 7 or 8 alpaca, and the reason I can't remember is because they unexpectedly had a little baby. It was a surprise. My brother went out one morning to go feed the alpaca and noticed there was an extra one there. I think there's 8 now, but they kept all of the wool separate. So this is the, when you call it alpaca, would you still call it wool? Fleeces, I'm just going to use the word fleeces. So they kept all the alpaca fleeces separate. So this is Gia's, Gia's fleece, and it is really soft. I know people say that sometimes alpaca can be scratchy, but this is really, it is so soft. I'm going to do, I think, a shawl, but I need to find a, you know what, and they said sport, but I think it can pass as a DK. So I'm looking for a DK shawl that will take 500 yards of yarn. So, right, because it is, yeah, it's by the yards, it's not by weight. So, anyways, this is super special, and I am looking for a super special project for this. So if anybody has any good ideas for a DK shawl, even a cowl would be nice, that takes 500 yards. Let me know. Put it in the comments below, because I'm on the lookout for the perfect wool. And it's funny, I've got my Ott light over here. I can't tell, it's so close to black, but I think it is a dark brown rather than black. So yeah, I could just squish all the yarn. I am kind of sad. This weekend was the New England Fiber Festival, and I didn't make it, and I wasn't going. My like I said, I just went through all of my stash, weeded things out. I have so much sock yarn. I have so many, I think I have 8 sweater quantities of yarn, and all of my works in progress that I just cannot justify going and going to the New England Fiber Festival, because I could say I'm not going to buy anything, but I know my willpower, and I would still be coming home with yarn. So I didn't make it out. It's the first time, I think, in 4 years I haven't been. But that's okay, because there was always next year. I didn't go to Rhinebeck either this year. I said I was going to, and it just, like I said, life got in the way. It has been busy. There have been some minor challenges. Certainly compared to other people, we've been very lucky, but it hasn't been a whole lot of time for me to sit down and podcast. And I know I come to you for about 30-40 minutes every 2 weeks. That doesn't seem like a lot of time, but if you see the mess in front of me, the cleanup, the editing, it's very time consuming, and I've been working. It's been extremely busy at work this summer. I've put in anywhere between 45 and 55 hours a week, so there really has not been a whole lot of time to do anything. So I'm really hoping now I am back. I am planning on doing Vlogmas again this year. We'll see. I think I missed the last couple days, so I'm hoping to make sure I get every single day in there. We're going to New York City on the 17th, so I am hoping, with that being said, that I'll be able to vlog some of that in New York. We were trying to decide whether or not we wanted to go to New York during Christmas. They have some Christmas markets, and it's just, the Christmas markets are so much fun. But our youngest son, his favorite thing in the world is Nintendo World in Rockefeller Center, and we know if we go to New York City, we have to go there. And Rockefeller Center on the weekends, at Christmas time with the tree, it is just, we were there last year, and you literally were sardines, and it took us 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, to go one block, and it's just too crowded for me. If we could go like to the Christmas market down in Union Square and then stay around Soho, that would be one thing. But like I said, I think we know with the boys we have to hit Nintendo World for them in Rockefeller Center, and I think we're going to end up going in November instead. So that's kind of what's coming up. And like I said, I'm really hoping now that I am back that I will be back every 2 weeks. And I think that is it for now. I think it's been very rambly. It's been very messy. I know it, and I apologize. I am hoping next time I podcast, I'm a little bit more with the program. Like I said, I've been wanting to get back and doing it, and with my husband food shopping and my kids were off to the side, off in their rooms doing their things, I decided I just needed to sit down and do this and get back into the swing of things. So those of you who have made it through this whole entire podcast, thank you so much. I am so happy to be back, and so grateful for all of you who have or are watching this, and I hope you have a great week and happy knitting, and I will see you in a few weeks. Bye.